All right, well, how's everyone doing today? Good. My name's Chris Hopkins. I'm a program manager on the office engineering team, specifically what we call our manageability team. So me and a few of us are responsible for all of the features for Click to Run that help admins deploy and manage Office 365 ProPlus. Okay? So that means I work with the Intune team, I work with the configuration manager team, obviously our own tool set that is integrated across a lot of those management tools. So that's kind of where I sit in the organization. So I'm here to talk in this session about, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we're doing on the Office team for manageability. This session specifically is going to focus on our Office customization tool for the click-to-run products. So that means Office 365 ProPlus, Office 365 Business, the new Office 2019 product that they recently announced, anything that's based on the click-to-run technology. We have an Office customization tool, a new version of the Office customization tool to help you configure the deployment, the update management, and the application settings that you can use for the Office products. This has been a tool that we've been working on for about 8-9 months now. Has anybody been out to config.office.com last few weeks or last few months? Okay, just a few of you? All right. How many people have been out to GitHub for the Office customization tool that's out there? So some of you have been out there and used some of the scripts and those sorts of things. All right. So what we've done on our team is we've put together a web-based experience for admins to use to configure all of the deployment settings, all of the update settings, all of the language settings, and kind of one of the new features that we've been working on that we've released in this product as of Monday was the ability to associate user preferences along with that deployment, right? Something that you've done previously with your MSI products. How many people have used what was called the Office customization tool for MSI? Okay, so yeah, most of you. How many are still on an MSI version of Office right now? Okay, so quite a few of you. Okay, and you're looking to move to ProPlus or not quite ready for it? Or okay, so looking to move? Okay, good. So first thing I'll say is take a look at this tool. This tool, we released it, the new experience on Monday at the show. We've gotten a lot of good feedback on it already. This tool is still in what we call public preview, so it's not yet completely supported by Microsoft, but my team is working towards making this available to the public by the end of next month, right? So there's a few things that are still in our backlog that we want to make sure that we get into the tool before we do a full release of version 1 next month. But take a look at it, come talk to me at the booth. I'll give you more information about it if I can't cover everything here. But I'm going to basically go through all of the configuration settings, some of the new stuff that you can do with this tool, and how this tool you can integrate it into your deployment process. This tool is, who saw my session yesterday in the config manager deployment session? Anybody? One? All right. So go back, watch the recording, because one of the things that we've done with this is we didn't just put a web-based tool together. We built what we called the Office customization service, right? So behind this interface is a new set of public APIs that this tool uses, Configuration Manager uses, and now Intune also uses, so that there's one source of truth for all the click-to-run deployment settings. Things like, hey, I picked the ProPlus product. What channels can I configure on ProPlus, right? I don't know if anybody has been looking across Configuration Manager and Intune and our deployment tools, but one of the things that we have recently received a lot of feedback on is that somebody will go into our update documentation. They will see that we released a new version. Let's say it's just version 4 was released. You'll go into Configuration Manager, and the latest version in Configuration Manager was version 3. And then you send me an email and you say, hey, how come I can't see version 4 in Configuration Manager? It's like, well, it's on that team's backlog. So we did a lot of work working with the Intune team and the Configuration Manager team to say, hey, can you guys pull all of that code out of your tools, and can you just call our APIs so that when our team releases a new version, a new channel, a new product, a new feature, we expose it here, it automatically shows up in Configuration Manager and Intune. That's our goal. Intune, or I should say Intune is working on it. They've got a different experience, so they call our APIs. Configuration Manager, they just frame our experience directly into Configuration Manager. So they don't worry about Office at all. They just bring us up, you click through the options, and then they build a package wrapped around the configuration that you've selected. So the single source of truth is something that's very important to us for deployment. But there's two items on this slide here that I want to talk a little bit about that I'm not going to demonstrate here at this theater session. But later this afternoon, there's another theater session that me and another guy are doing over in the Hyatt to talk about policy management for Office 365 ProPlus. So how many of you are doing group policy management for Office right now? Okay, the majority of you. And are you looking to move to Azure AD join machines or looking to do MDM enrollment, those kinds of things? So what are you going to do about group policy management when you get there, right? Whatever I tell you, right? Yeah. So what I'll say is come by and look at our theater session. We're going to do a demonstration on some brand new capability that we announced the other day. It's in private preview, so we're looking for customers to try it out and give us feedback on it right now. But it's cloud-based management for all of Office policies, right? So that means that what you're doing in group policy today, we want you to be able to go to the Office 365 portal, select the policies you want, target them to a security group, and when your user signs into Office 365 ProPlus, those policies get deployed to that particular device for that user. That is all also built into our service, so that's the reason I'm kind of bringing that up at this point. Again, single source of truth for all Office policy configuration management, right? That was our goal there. Getting back to deployment, a lot of the feedback that we've received for click to run and people moving from MSI or wanting to move from MSI to click to run is the ability to do a single task sequence or a single process to install ProPlus on the device. The problem with that is that prior to this new preference management functionality that we've added to the Office deployment tool, that was another step after you've installed ProPlus, or you may have written a script and included that to go and set all the user preferences, things like, company name, default file save locations, those sorts of things, right? Maybe even themes and those sorts of things, accessibility options, to give that user the first run experience in Office that your organization wants every user to see. Something you've done with MSI, right? By cracking open the package and using the Office customization tool. So until now, this has not been possible with click to run, but we've added the ability for you to go through in the deployment tool and pick out any of the 1,800 settings that we expose in Office, so you can set all of those preferences and include them with the deployment, so that all you have to do is tell ProPlus, hey, deploy to this device, and it will deploy on that channel, that version with those apps, and then also give you all of the preferences along with it that you've set in one single step, right? So pretty important functionality to take a look at. This is I already talked about some of this stuff. I've kind of skipped through the slides here. But basically, historically, the click to run and the Office deployment tool has only allowed you to deal with deployment specific options for architecture and channel and those sorts of things. And we've unlocked the ability for you to do that in our Office customization tool. So I'll get out of the slides here and I want to walk through a demo of what all these capabilities are, just kind of go through some of the existing stuff and how we think about it, as well as some of the new options that we've recently released for the Office deployment tool. So here you go to config.office.com. It's completely unauthenticated, so anybody has access to this. We have import and export functionality, so if you have existing configuration files, you can simply come here, import them, make a few changes, re-export those with the changes, right? But we'll go through kind of the first experience where we don't have an import. We can set our organization name, and this is a new feature here for description. We added a new tag to the configuration XML so that administrators can actually document what that XML does in their own way, right? Instead of opening up an XML file or naming the file in a certain way, you can just type in hey, this particular device is, or configuration is for our pilot group. We're not going to give them OneDrive or Skype or whatever your configuration is. You can just document that there. Because one of the problems with Click to Run from a customer perspective is that there's a 20-page reference document that we have on the web. There's all these XML settings, right? And some of those XML settings actually depend on other XML settings, and you really have to be an expert on that document if you're going to go into Notepad and type all that stuff out, right? That was the other main reason why we wanted to build our own supported tool. Is I can't tell you how many times a week I get emails from customers that say, hey, I tried to do a deployment of ProPlus, it keeps failing, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. They send me their XML, and they didn't capitalize ProPlus correctly in the XML, right? Like, I mean, really simple things like that. And it's frustrating, obviously, for you, but it's frustrating for us as well. And so this tool takes care of all of that, because we make sure that we give you the right workflow for going through and selecting your products and channels and which configurations are valid, right? We don't want you picking certain products that you can't install together on the same device. So this tool has those business rules built into it. So if you try to build an invalid configuration, we will give you errors in the UI and say, no, you can't do that, right? Things like that. That becomes especially important when we talk about Office 2019, right? So if we come in here and we pick from our list of products, we don't currently have Office 2019 in here yet. We will soon. We're still in preview. But Office 2019 kind of threw us for a little bit of a loop, because currently all the products that we support in Click to Run support all the same channels: monthly targeted, semi-annual targeted, all that stuff, right? So it didn't matter which products you picked, we just gave you the list of channels. Now we had to build business rules because 2019 doesn't use those channels, it uses its own channel. So we don't want you to do things like pick ProPlus here. Let me see if I can get it to select. We'll go ahead and disable some of these apps. Maybe I don't want those apps installed, right? And you can see over here they've been added to our configuration menu. And if I wanted to, I could, make changes to that on the fly. But when I come down here to channel, previously that was grayed out because I didn't have any products in my list. But because I added ProPlus, the business logic says that the default channel for ProPlus should be semi-annual channel. You can obviously change that, but we have the logic in there to help guide you through that process. And what we're working on right now is the business logic around 2019 and the new perpetual channel, so that if you do pick 2019 or try to include 2019 with a subscription version of Visio, we can make sure that you have the right channel selection in this UI, and you don't have to make the decision around that, right? Or wonder is this XML actually going to work when I deploy it, right? So we make sure that you've got the right stuff there. Latest version, or the list of versions that you can pick from that are published to the CDN. So you can go through and pick a previous version if you have the need. Language settings. Oops, sorry, this touchpad is not cooperating with me very well. We kind of changed how the flow works for our languages, because we really have this idea of a primary language and then additional secondary languages, right? So we wanted to make it very clear that, if you're going to pick a language, you should only be able to pick a language that is a full language set, right? And if you're just typing out the XML, you could accidentally pick a language that is just proofing tools, and that's going to be another deployment error, right? Because we don't have any UI in a proofing tool language pack. So we need to make sure that we restrict you to the languages that are available there. So I can pick German, for example, and then if I need to, I can come in here and pick any additional language packs that I want to include. One of the important options that is pretty recent to the configuration is this item called Match Operating System. So maybe you don't want to go through and figure out like what are all the languages that the people in my organization need. I just want the Click to Run installation to be smart and figure it out for us. If I pick Match Operating System language here, go ahead and add that to my list. When Click to Run is installing on the device, it will look at your Windows operating system. It will look at all the users that are using Windows on that machine, and it will figure out the list of languages that all those users are using, build that out, and then install those language packs along with Office automatically. So you can also, I set it as a secondary option, but I could just set that as a primary option and leave it, and it'll install all the languages. We do see in a lot of cases, most organizations, pick a specific primary language for the people in their org, and then they go ahead and pick Match OS to kind of pick up all the other stuff that may be available. Okay, so we get into the installation options. So installing from the CDN, we like customers to install from the CDN by default to make sure they always have the latest and greatest. But you do have the ability to install from different locations. So you could download all the bits from the CDN, put them on a file share, and just choose local source and tell us where that local source is. And that's where we will install from that particular machine. Nothing really new there. We've done that since the beginning of Click to Run. However, one of the options there, fallback to CDN for missing languages, is new, because going back to the option that I just talked about for Match OS, let's take that scenario for example. So if I said, you know what, I'm going to install from a local source, and I'm going to download only the English version of Office, and I'm going to put that on my file share, and I'm going to pick Match OS as my default language option, so it'll be smart and figure it out. If you have this selected, when Click to Run goes to install on my device and it sees that I have English and German Windows installed, it's not going to be able to get German from your local source. So it's automatically going to go up to the CDN and just pull down that German language pack automatically for me. If I didn't have that selected, you're going to get an installation failure because Click to Run can't find German, so it's going to say, hey, I can't install ProPlus on this device with the configuration that you've given me. So that's a pretty new feature as well, and pretty helpful for those types of scenarios. We'll go ahead and set that back to CDN. Update and upgrade settings. Again, similar to installation settings, you can get your updates from the CDN or local source. Maybe you're using an older version of Configuration Manager, which doesn't have the new integration that we have in 1806. You may be building your configuration file here. You can simply select, hey, I'm using SCCM for all my updates, and SCCM will be smart when you import this XML. But you can set installation behavior differently from update behavior. A lot of our customers actually do that. They will do their installation of ProPlus from a local source to kind of help with bandwidth, network traffic out to the internet, because it is 1.7 gigabytes for a ProPlus installation to a device. But updates are obviously much, much smaller than that, so they'll do the first installation from a local source, and then they'll get all future updates directly from the CDN. So that's a very popular option. And then when we get down here into upgrades, how many of your devices already have an old version of Office on them? Like all of them, right? I'll tell you that the Intune team, when they first implemented the ability to deploy Office 365 Pro Plus through Intune and the Office CSPs, I think it was probably like a 70 or 85% failure rate on all the installations that were pushed through Intune. The reason is because we had no way to remove existing versions of MSI products. Click to Run just did not know about those products, and so it would just fail, right? And most machines, you go to the store, you buy a machine, right? You get your machines from Dell with OEM. They've already got Office installed on them, and then you enroll them in Intune and start getting installation failures. So I think, 2 months ago, we released the ability for the Click to Run agent to look at your machine, figure out what Office products you have on that machine, 2010, 2013, 2016, and remove those prior to installing the Click to Run product. So back to my statement earlier, we want a configuration that you can build, push to a machine in one step, and we take care of removing the existing Office installations, putting the version of Click to Run on the device that you've specified, as well as setting up all of the user preferences for you automatically in one step. Before I get to the application settings, this setting here is another setting related to languages. Maybe I've had old Office on my machine and I installed some languages independently. You can turn that on, and before we scrub MSI off the machine, we will take a catalog of what languages you had installed with MSI, and then we'll just duplicate that when we go to install the click-to-run version. Now, those of you that have actually read up on this feature, because it is a couple months, it's been out there for a couple months, the question comes up a lot here at the booth. Okay, well, I've got Visio and Project, and I want to leave those on the device, but I want to get rid of Professional Plus off the machine. Can we do that? We don't expose that right now in the UI. I'm working with my developers to get them to do that in this next month before we go before we release version 1. When we do that, you should see items under here for ignoring Visio and ignoring projects, so you can leave those behind, just wipe off Office and then put click to run on that device. We just don't have it in the UI right now, but it's fully capable in the XML. If you wanted to do that deployment today, you could just add that XML in, and it's documented out there. I can show you where that's at later if you have questions. So yeah, to get to our application settings, I'll give you a quick look here, but these are the 1800 Office application settings. You can search, you can sort by app and by category. Who's familiar with the ADMX templates? Everybody, yeah, all the GPO stuff. So everything that is tagged as a user preference in the ADMX templates is now available here in this UI. So we can go through here, and we can simply select one of these. Just going to randomly pick one. I'll configure that to true. I picked all my other options, so I should be able to do an export quickly and just show you what that looks like in the XML here. So there we go. So there's my XML configuration that I would use in Configuration Manager in my own process. I've got allow CDM fallback, I've got my channel, etc. You can see all the languages that I've picked, and you can see every single app setting that I include is going to be listed down here in the app settings scenario. The next question you're probably going to ask me is, okay, well, you've included it in this deployment. What if I'm already deployed and I just want to change somebody's existing user preferences? There's a setting in the Office deployment tool. You just give it this XML, or you can actually cut the XML down to just app settings, and you can run the Office deployment tool with a /customize command, and all it will do will just go out and write all these registry settings for you. So that's pretty much it. And we've got everything in there that I think you need for doing that first deployment of ProPlus. My time's basically up. I'm walking straight over to the booth after this, so if you have any questions about any of this stuff, feel free to come over. I'll dive through it some more with you. And if you have any feedback for me as well on some of these new capabilities, happy to take that in and take it to my dev team. So with that, thank you for attending